think my love of cars must have come from my mum's side, because my mum and my uncles were all really into cars, and my love of cars just appeared when I was 17 and I got my first car, and all of a sudden cars were everything. Before then, you know, I wasn't really that bothered, and that began everything really, because I bought a copy of Max Power magazine, read through it, and that was it. You know, I was sold. I was absolutely in. I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. So I bought a Vauxhall Nova. At the time it was the in car. I bought that, and so the modifications began. And one by one I started doing bits and bobs to it. And when things started getting a bit more serious and I started looking for companies to actually do the work for me, I was let down time and time again. And in the end I had no choice. I just started doing it on my own in the garage, much to my parents' unhappiness. And I started doing bodywork and I started doing interiors. And the next thing you know, all my friends heard about it. So there's a queue of people. I've got cars everywhere. I'm doing cars like in neighbours' driveways, my driveway. And at that point I realised it was probably a good idea to maybe take it a bit more seriously and set it up as a business. So the queue of people at my house then became a queue of people at the business premises, and I called it typecase styling. That was the name that my friends basically made for what I was doing. And back then there was no Facebook, there was no real internet. Everything was all about printed literature. And the aim of the game was you had to get your car on the front cover of one of these magazines. That was what everyone was trying to do. And once you'd done that, you know, there we go, you'd got what you wanted. So we were building cars specifically for people to try and get their cars on the front cover of these magazines. And we got busier and busier. We in fact, at one stage, we did something that hadn't been done before. We actually got 2 covers of 2 of the 4 mainstream magazines, both our cars, different cars, for 2 of our clients, which was quite a milestone for us. And from that, we ended up moving premises twice. We got more staff, and we got busier and busier. So in 2004, we got our 2 covers in 1 month, and we were approached actually by MTV to film for Pimp My Ride, which is something that we were really wanted to do. We'd watched it for many years, and you know, it was us really. We thought, this is us, without a doubt. And with that, we thought, right, we need to make it a bit more professional. So we changed the name to Xquisite, and we moved to much newer, much nicer premises, mainly for the filming. Unfortunately, we didn't end up doing it. We actually came second to the company that did, but second out of 40 is not bad. So with that, we also had a lot of other production companies knocking on our door, wanting to do various programs with us. And we continued the business very successfully. We had lots and lots of customers, but we really wanted to go for it big time. So we thought it was time to do our own big car. And I bought a BMW M3 at the time, and decided to cut it up, which was very unusual, and a lot of people thought I was a bit crazy, but I did it, and we ended up fitting 22-inch wheels to it, which was a complete unknown at the time. We actually built the car in 2 weeks, and it had a full custom interior, the 22-inch wheels, a complete custom body kit. And we took it to Max Power live show. That was in 2005, and we launched it there. And it caused such a stir that it ended up winning Best Interior. And straight away from that, we just saw inquiries just went through the roof. That car specifically, because it was such a new car, it was a performance car. It was a car that really shouldn't have been tampered with. And basically I ended up ruining it, as a lot of people said, by cutting all the factory wheel arches and putting these monstrous wheels on it and building all these custom wide arches. But it looked so factory by the time it was finished. A lot of people in the industry actually said if BMW were going to make a modified BMW M3, that's exactly how it would look. So it was done very well, and it had some really awesome trick touches in it as well. It was certainly a car that stood out. So the BMW launched, huge success, and the phones just were ringing and ringing. We were having loads and loads of inquiries from all over Europe. And you know, this is when the real wacky stuff started coming out from us. And this is the famous chair that we built, again, for our computer game client. This is actually a weapon in the game. you can actually use this and shoot people, etc. So they said to us one day, do you think you could build this? I was like, yeah, of course we can build this. You know, why wouldn't we be able to? And then they said, could you make it road legal? Yeah, we could make it road legal. And they signed it off. So that was the tricky bit. How are we going to make this so it's road legal and, you know, still works? And in the end, we did. And it's a mobility scooter underneath. All the guns work, which I can show you. It's fully road legal. It's got number plates, it's got indicators, and the guys actually used it in London, drove it around, and amazingly didn't get stopped by the police, unbelievably. Don't know how. Because we were always trying to outdo ourselves almost, and so some of the stuff we built was just phenomenal. We were building doors that opened sideways, backwards, upwards, you name it. Every door possibility we were trying to do. We even built one car for one of our very good customers that we actually trimmed the outside of the car in snakeskin leather. Just crazy. No one had done it before. We thought, yeah, that would be cool. And it was. And it was a love it or hate it car. Some people hated it. Some people loved it. But that was certainly one of the stranger ones that we did. We also did a Peugeot 206 with a Nissan 350Z body kit, which was very famous, something that had never been done before. And again, we had a real talent for doing these really extreme modifications, but making them look as if they were meant to be. And a lot of people just couldn't really match the way we did things, taking these extreme modifications and just making them look almost factory, but with a bit of flair at the same time. And all of these cars ended up going all across Europe, winning shows left, right and centre. And at this point, we probably had about 25 to 30 magazine covers, including international covers, UK magazine covers. And that was really the point where we were everywhere, basically. You just couldn't look left or right without seeing one of our cars somewhere winning something or in a magazine somewhere. So when I first started the business in 2002, one of my good friends at the time helped me. He'd just finished school, just about to go to uni, last summer before uni, and didn't have anything to do, so he was like, I'll help you. And yeah, his name was Taz. We actually fell out when we first met because I had a Nova, he had a Golf. He used to laugh at my Nova, typical car rivalry. But we actually became really good friends, and I've met some of my best friends to this day because of Taz, and he helped me for free. It was really difficult when we first started. I was on my own, didn't really have anyone to help me or to do anything, and he offered me that help, and we've always been best friends. And then in 2009. Unfortunately, he was found to have a brain tumour, which was quite a big shock to all of us. They operated, and he sort of had chemo, and his quality of life wasn't so good. And in 2011, in March, he actually sadly passed away, which was quite a horrific time. I was having a really tough time with work, and when that happened, I don't really know. Really, it just. I think it affected all of us so much, to lose someone who's your best friend at a very young age to something like that is quite difficult. And from that, I actually found something really positive, and I found like an energy to basically use his memory to help me build the business, having that drive when you're having a bad time, knowing that your friend is watching, and wanting to make him proud, really. That makes a big difference to me. I started building a car many years ago whilst he was still alive, and he'd always sort of give me advice on what he thought on bits, so that car's going to be in his honour basically once it's done. Things were going great. We were in our new place, had loads of staff, lots of business. We were winning awards left, right and centre. And then the recession hit. And to be fair, that's when things became really tough. And it was really touch and go. We weren't really sure what was going to happen. things started taking a real downturn. It affected the industry considerably. People just weren't spending money, and you could see it because a lot of our competitors started closing down. You know, we were worried at one point, but we actually managed to really turn it around. We actually used the recession to our advantage, I guess. And I remember them saying at the time, the people that survive this are going to come out and they're going to be really good. And the weak people are the ones that are going to basically fold. And lucky for us, we didn't. We kept going. And we actually used the fact that our competitors were closing down left, right and centre to help a lot of people rescue their cars. There were so many people that were just having cars half done, you know, poor quality cars because people were just trying to get them in and out and gone. And we did become a bit of a knight in shining armour to a lot of people, even people that actually didn't like us, who ended up coming back with their tails between their legs. And you know, we're quite a modest company, so we're not going to say I told you so, but they knew it anyway, so it's fine. And we ended up saving a lot of people's cars and creating some really, really nice show-winning pieces of art, really. From such a negative thing, we brought something really positive out for a lot of people. So this is the zombie pickup truck we built for one of our good clients. Fully road legal, so the gun's completely fake, would you believe? It's made out of plastic tubes and MDF, expertly crafted. And this front barricade, that's all plumbing waste pipe. So it weighs nothing. You can literally take it off, stick it in the back, job done. And all the mesh that you see on the windows, they all fold down and clip into place. So it's fully road legal. You can drive it every day, no problems. But when you want it to look menacing like that, job done. So 2008-9 onwards, as we were coming out of the recession, we learnt loads. I mean, we learnt that people are people. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we had a lot of people that didn't like us, but really and truly, these guys then came to us, and ultimately they're people who love cars. I mean, we all love cars. That's the whole point of it, really. And the fact that we could help them, you know, to achieve their dream, that's exactly what we've always wanted to do. And to be fair, that's exactly why I do this. My enjoyment of this is building a car for someone and them really loving it and being excited and turning the introverts into extroverts, because a lot of people don't know how to express themselves, and cars, it's an interesting way to do that. We have a lot of customers that are very shy. You know, some of them don't even have social lives, and very strangely, by building them this car, it's our way of giving them a tool to use to show people who they are, meet new people. You know, some of them have got married, some of them have made friends for life, and it's our ability of looking at someone who doesn't really know what they want. Hi, I'd like my car to be on the cover of XYZ magazine. I don't know what to do. Well, that's where we come in, and that's something that we've always been really good at, because I like to get a feel for who someone is and what they want, and we try to build a car to suit them and something that will show off their personality in a way that, you know, they're going to be happy with. And it's that transformation, it's that understanding of people. It's not just about making money. It isn't, yeah, I mean, it's a business, don't get me wrong, but there's more to it than that. This is, you know, people's feelings, really. And that feeling of having this car, being able to take it out and show off with it, it's a feeling that you can't really describe. It's an amazing thing. And the fact that we've helped so many people do that, you know, that's amazing. And that's why we're still here today. It's because we're very good at that. We can look at someone, get to know them. You know, a lot of our customers are our friends now, because they have to be, to a degree, because that's the only way we can really build them something that actually shows who they are. And yeah, I mean, I'd like to say that we've changed a lot of people's lives in that way. And we ended up doing work for Monster Energy, building a car for Butsy Butler, who's a good friend of mine, a very, very famous Monster athlete. So this is a car we've just built for Butsy, who's an old friend of mine. He's a Monster Energy athlete. He loves his cars, and he's been wanting an RX-7 for a long, long time. And obviously I can't say no to him. He's a good friend of mine. So we did all the body kit for it, fitted it all, well, made it fit because it wasn't very good, and a few other bits, and now that's going to go and get wrapped in his livery, so that should be quite cool. we also ended up being involved in the world's most expensive hypercar, which was the Lykan Hypersport. It was $3.4 million, and the guys building it had seen our videos of all our doors that we do, and they wanted some crazy doors, so they approached us, just a small humble company in the UK, and it was a huge thing for us. We'd never done anything like this, and it was scary, but we made it happen. We made it work, and we created these door hinges for these guys, and that car actually ended up in Fast and Furious 7. In fact, we ended up making the door hinges for the cars in Fast and Furious 7 as well. So where you see the red car being sent through the building in Abu Dhabi, it's got our hinges on it. So, claim to fame there. This is the sort of stuff that we're getting a lot more call for now, just because it's completely different. I mean, that's the world's largest children's storybook that we did for Alden Towers, and it was just purely for a publicity stunt for them to promote the opening of a new section there. Obviously we had to be a little bit careful because there was kids there, but you know, it was huge. It's definitely the biggest thing we've ever built, without a doubt. I think why we've been so successful has always been down to the team. I don't believe that I could have ever done this single-handedly, and you know, I genuinely think in business it is all about having a good team. I trust my guys so much. You know, they're all amazing, and we're more of a family now. And it's taken us quite a lot of time to get to the point where we've got a really solid team. But Willis, who's my production manager, he's been here for 10 years, and he's been through the thick and thin. He's seen the highs, he's seen the lows, and you know, he's always the one that's still here at 4, 5, 6 in the morning with no life left in it. and you know, I have to say I couldn't have done it without them. And for me, it's never about me, it's always we. We do this, we do that. It just wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And yeah, I thank them for everything that they've done. So the biggest change to us as a business was in 2011, when we were approached by a company who wanted us to build some vehicles for the 2012 Olympics for Coca-Cola, which was huge. And it's something that we never dreamed we'd end up doing. It certainly wasn't a normal thing that we had to do. We were very much out of our comfort zone, but we ended up having 2 transit vans, and we just cut them up completely, all the chassis, everything, and we built 2 miniature buses. I don't know how, if I'm completely honest with you, and probably the guys here would say the same. They don't really know how we did it, but we did it, and we did it in 11 weeks, which was quite impressive. And that was the biggest learning curve for us. We delved into this world that we just never imagined we'd be in. And doing something for Coca-Cola and for the London Olympics was huge for us. And from that, we realised that actually this is a great route for us to sustain the business and use our creativity, not only with the cars, but also building cool stuff for big clients. And from there, we pushed and we pushed, and we actually started doing sales and trying to get in with other companies. And that's worked really successfully for us, because within 2 or 3 years, we've actually grown massively, and we outgrew our lovely little workshop that we were in that did us really proud, and we're now in a huge place, and we've got clients like Google, Coca-Cola obviously, Green and Blacks, and all sorts of big names under our belt. But yeah, they're the famous Olympic buses, and they're only small, so you could stand in the back, and you could, if you were tall, you could actually look out the top windows. Gives you an idea of scale. Everyone looks at them and goes, oh, they're just buses, but no, they're not buses, they're transit vans, they're miniature buses. That's the difference. So some of the big projects we've done, we built a float for Google, for Pride Parade, that was very interesting. It was just a giant screen on wheels with a DJ booth that was being towed by a car. It was crazy because we had to build it and it had to last 4 hours. That's it. But the problem was it had to work for 4 hours. So the pressure was, you know, if something goes wrong, we couldn't fix it the day after or the day after that. The 4 hours were absolutely critical, mission critical. And the worry that we had and the panic for all the period up to this event, where we thought, what if something goes wrong? What if this doesn't work? What if it rains? What if that happens? It was almost worse. It was worse than building a vehicle that has to tour for a year. Just for 4 hours, you know, it was crazy. And we've done a really cool Volvo Army DJ van for Spotify that was very cool, where the roof all opens up and you've got a DJ that stands there with speakers and he can DJ live straight out of the truck. That was pretty cool. I'd love to say I'd change everything, but I don't think we'd be here, to be honest, if we'd changed anything. I think everything we've had to go through has been a learning curve, and had we not had, you know, it's easy to say, oh, I'd love to go back and know that this person was going to do that, so I'd avoid that. But really and truly, would we have grown? Probably not. I think the fact that we had those issues and the fact that we've learned from those issues is great, and I don't think we'd be here, and we wouldn't be as good as we are had we not gone through those things. You know, it really is, it's definitely a thing that we've gained strength from the bad stuff that's happened. And you know, everyone sees the rosy side that goes on, and they see all the covers, and they see, you know, really just a glorified business. They don't see what really goes on behind closed doors. They don't see the tough times. They don't see the 16-hour days. But I don't think I'd change that. I think I don't think any of us would. I think we like it in a weird way. A bit sadistic, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah.